Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to 17 Things You Need to Do Before Going to College. If any of you are unfamiliar with me, we're going to get to know each other. I want to get to know you. I want to know, how are you doing tonight? How are you feeling? You can answer this poll question. I'm going to end the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to examine where you are today because it's important for me to get, wow, I cannot believe this. 3 people are having the best day ever. 12 amazing, 15% fantastic, 33% great, 23% good. Nobody is fair. This is unbelievable. I mean, you might be lying. Like there's no you if you're not having a good day, that's okay. You don't have to lie. But it's incredible. Man, you're in such a good why are you so happy? You can let me know in the chat. I'm just curious, like, why are you so happy? Because you're all in such a good place, which is so amazing. And even if you're okay, okay is just, okay, still good. You're still here, you're still moving it. I'm feeling really good. There's good energy tonight. So, my partner is College Ave Student Loans. We've been working together for, I don't know, it's been like 5 years. They're such wonderful partners, and they help me to do this. And not only do they help me to do this, College Ave also gives away, like, this is for real. Let me move myself out of the way. They're giving away $5,000. And it's not like you need to write an essay and get a certain grade. You just enter. And the reason I've been working with College Ave is because they believe in a holistic experience. Uh, if I can help you to have the best college experience and graduate and be successful and fulfilled, then that is really something that it's wonderful, and it makes me feel blessed. And it's been a great partnership. So I encourage you to get your chance to sign up for that as well. How are you today? When we covered this, you're amazing. And some days you're good, some days you're not so good. I'm feeling pretty good today. I love doing this because more than ever, people need this. This past year has been brutal, and my heart really is open. And I just feel so enthusiastic about providing support because I just want you all to be so happy. I want you to get whatever you want. I want you to have the very best experience. I know some of you are seniors, some of you are parents, some of you are counselors. So I want to get a sense of where you are when it comes to your college choice. May 1st is coming up, it's decision day. And unlike last year, most schools, it's that day. So what I'd like to know is, did you get into your first choice school, or did your child get into your first choice school? And I'm going to share these results as well. And it's a wonderful way to be honest. You can answer the question now. I'm like the king of rejection. So I love playing with rejection. I like when people don't get into their first choice school. And it's not because I'm a sick, demented, evil person. What I find is that when you don't get into your first choice school, you have to be the keeper of your dream, because no one's going to create anything for you, because you have to go to another school that's maybe like, your second, third, fourth. Hopefully you have like 5 dream schools. But when you don't get in, you have to be the one to create it, and you have to be intentional. And tonight's about being really intentional and understanding how to create this college experience, whether you're a senior or a junior or a parent or somebody who's even younger, which is great. So I'm going to share the results with you. And I've been doing this for several weeks. And it's interesting to see, this is a little more reflective of what we've been seeing in terms of trends. So 27% of you did get into your first choice school, or I'm sorry, 42% got in, 38% did not, 2% still waiting, and then 80 have not applied. So we have a lot of seniors here tonight and parents of seniors as well. So this gives you a sense of just where everyone is. And if you did get into your first choice school, great. But the question is, like, how's it going to be as good as you have built it up to be? Because sometimes it's not, and that can be really upsetting. And then the question is, if you didn't get in, well, how are you going to make this great? And for those of you who haven't applied, cool. I'm going to help you to have perspective to figure out how to work through this. Okay, so this is where I need some help. I would love to talk to a senior. If there's a senior or two who I can talk to, I would be so grateful, because I want to bring you up. I'd love for you to turn your camera on. And what I'll do, if you're a senior, I did this the other day. I think let's see if anyone raises their hand. If you're a senior who can turn your camera on, I'm looking for a student. I will give you, I'll send you a book and a Naked Roommate book, a signed book, and I'll send you a $20 Amazon gift card. All right. Just for opening up your camera so I can talk to you because I want to get to know you and understand what you're going through. So when I actually have students here who are doing this, this is great. I'm going to do one more call because if maybe you don't want to, I mean, $25, I think that's really my limit. I feel like I'm at you know, trying to get someone to bumping someone off an airplane. $25 and a round trip ticket to Puerto Vallarta. I can't do that. Okay, so let's see. We got no students who want to raise their hand. That's okay. All right, I'll do this. How about a parent? All right. Oh, I got it. Is this a parent or student? Let's see. I got Kathleen. Look at you. I can't. The Puerto Vallarta, if I'm saying it right, that was not part of it. So just so you know, I'm happy to get you the Amazon gift card and I'll get you a signed book. Okay. And I'm going to bring you on here. All right. So, Kathleen, if you can do me a favor and turn your camera on and unmute yourself. This is good. Oh, you are awesome. Yay. So, you're a student. You're so brave. Yay.
My name's Kate.
So, Kate, first of all, thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you're doing this. So, Kate, what school do you go to
I go
right
to
now?
St. Joseph Hill Academy on Staten Island.
What's it called?
St. Joseph Hill Academy.
Great. Okay. And you're a senior, right?
Yes.
And you are going to go to college?
Yes.
Awesome. That's exciting. And do you know where you're going?
Yeah, I actually toured where I'm going to commit today. So I was having a very good day.
That's good. What school?
Quinnipiac University.
Quinnipiac. I've been to Quinnipiac. I like Quinnipiac. So you toured there today just to make sure it was good?
Yes.
And while you were touring, what made you feel like, yes, Quinnipiac, I'm in?
I just like the atmosphere on campus today with the nice weather and everything. Everyone was outside having a good time.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And so Quinnipiac's not too far from home. So it's like what, an hour and a half?
Like two and a
Two
half.
hours?
Yes.
Okay. So this is good. Are you the first one in your family in terms of like age? Are you
Yeah,
the
my
oldest?
oldest
You're
daughter.
the oldest. Do you have other siblings?
Hmm.
Okay. So you're the first one going through this. That's kind of intense, right?
Definitely.
And was Quinnipiac your first choice?
Not at first, but I kind of became more open to it.
What was your first choice? If you're like, if you can be kind enough to let us inside a little bit.
I really loved UConn at first, but I don't know, as I went through the process,
What right. Did you get
just
into
felt
UConn as well?
I did. It was just, I don't know, I was kind of leaning towards smaller at the end there.
Right. So you went so UConn's, tens of thousands of students. And how
Yes.
large is Quinnipiac?
Only 10,000.
Okay. So that's like, I mean, it's still pretty big,
Yeah.
but that's great. So when it comes to next year making friends, because this is where I'm really good, because you probably want friends, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Right. Like that's really important. Do you have any friends at Quinnipiac?
I don't. No, I do not.
Okay. So you don't have any friends there, and you'll make tons of friends. Like you're gonna make friends. So let's just assume you do. But do you know how you're gonna make these friends? Do you have a plan?
Probably get involved a lot on campus and branch
Have
out
you
and talk to people right away.
Awesome. So specifically, and one of the things I'm going to talk about tonight is really identifying your three places. So now, like you're going to Quinnipiac. So where are the three places where you are going to find connection and community? And just to give you more of like an idea of what I mean by places, places are where you sweat, like athletics or working out. So today was a sweaty day. That's where you sweat, where you play, where you pray. Are you into God? Do you like God? You dig God? Or you
I
go
go to
to
Catholic school. Yeah.
right,
I'll
right.
probably join campus ministry.
Oh, good. So you like that because it means you come from a family where that's important. So good. So okay. So sweat, play, pray, live, learn, lead, love, and work. All right. So places are where you sweat, play, pray, live, learn, lead, love, and work. So campus ministry, that's great because they're not going to reject you, Kate.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to audition and do like a Bible test, right?
Mhm.
Right. Because you want to make sure, because there's a lot of schools where, and this is for everybody, is you might be excited about something, but you have to try out or you have to be invited. And like, I'll share all my rejections with you because I didn't realize this. So you got that. What's another thing that you did in high school or that you're doing that you're gonna do in Quinnipiac?
I was thinking probably get involved with Special Olympics Club and volunteering with them.
Wonderful. So you love to volunteer, and they
Yes.
have a Special Olympics club?
Yes, they do.
Nice. Have you talked to anyone in that club?
I haven't yet.
Okay. Well, just another thing, and you're amazing. So, like, you're awesome. So
Thank
there's
you.
no doubt about that. Because I offer suggestions, and I'm annoying. Okay, and I've got a kid too. I've got 3 kids, and I'm super annoying. And you didn't ask for suggestions, but are you open to a suggestion?
Sure,
Okay,
anytime.
because and even beyond this, like you could be like, "Hey, Harlan, this is Kate. You talked to me at that thing. I have another question," and I'll be like, "Yes, Kate." And this is for I'm so happy to do this. So if you go to the Special Olympics website or the club and actually see the people there, what's cool is you look at those people and then you find them on like Snapchat or find them on TikTok or find them in those places. And you could do like a little bit of stalking in the best way. Shouldn't even use that word, but just a little research. And you
Mhm.
get to see like, okay, the person who's in Special Olympics club, are they in another club or activity? Are they in other organizations? Because if someone's doing that, they're like-minded, and then all of a sudden you're going to discover some of the other things before you even arrive on campus. And then if you have like an orientation leader or somebody who is involved, then you already know someone. So it's like it's a cool thing. Have you thought of doing any of those things?
Yes, probably. Networking.
Absolutely. Good. Okay,
Yeah.
good. So Special Olympics and then anything else? Is there another thing? Are you active? Are you an athlete?
Yes, I play volleyball, but it is D1 school, so I was thinking maybe do club volleyball.
Nice. And do you have to try out for club volleyball or do you just get on?
You do, but if you don't make it, there's intramural volleyball.
So you can do that too.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, you're great. Like you're set up. You got your 3 places, right? Like you're gonna be golden. How are you at being lonely? Are you good at being lonely? It's like a weird question, but like,
Um, Depends on the day. I don't prefer it.
but like, do you need people by your side at all times, or can you just like chill
I
and
can
be
chill. Yeah,
okay?
I enjoy my own company.
Okay. I mean, that's because the first 3 months of college, the first 3 to 6 months, I mean, you're going to make tons of friends, but like close friends, especially when you're not going there with your best friends,
Mhm.
that can be something really hard. And I think people don't recognize this. Let me just ask you one more question, and then I'm going to get to the rest of tonight. During COVID, when you were isolated and alone, because I think that was like a great it was a great practice of like, wow, I don't know my people and places. How much does this suck? Or like, how can I work through that? Did you find any joy? Was there something you did that gave you joy in your life?
I did. I used to love reading when I was younger, and now that I've had all this free alone time on my hands, I've picked up reading and I've read so many books now.
Oh my gosh, that is so wonderful. For anybody who wants to read a good book, what's a great book suggestion that stands out as like, man, that was awesome.
Oh gosh. I was really into like mystery books.
Okay.
So my favorite so far has probably been A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but she was investigating.
Okay. Because that could be odd for your roommate.
Yeah.
See like all your murder books on the
Oh my
on the
god, yeah.
All right, my very last question, and these are questions that I ask everyone and everybody watching this, you know, I'm asking you these questions too, but Kate just happens to be the person I get to talk to and learn more about. Is there anything, and being as honest and vulnerable as possible as you can be in this situation, is there anything you're nervous about or uncomfortable about?
Probably being so far away from home. Like, you can't just run home
Right,
whenever you need.
like being homesick.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's like a scary thing, and I think more people this past year, there's been so much closeness. Are you next to, someone is your mom in the room with you?
Yes, my mother's sitting right next
So
to
she,
me.
like, roped you into this, right?
Kathleen. Yeah.
Oh, she's happy. "Hey, Kathleen, thanks for bringing Kate to this." I'll ask you one question just because 'cause you're here. Kathleen, is there anything that you're nervous about or a little uncomfortable about?
I'm gonna miss my girl.
Just to miss having her around?
Yes.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I have a 15-year-old, and I'm not there yet, but, oh, man, my heart. So
Yeah.
you 2 have a good relationship?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's so nice. So
Mm.
the risk is that you wanna come home too much. The risk is that you talk to each other too much. So, Kathleen, just one thing of, like, making sure that there's this thing called the fifth wall of technology, and I mentioned this in the book. The fifth wall of technology is, cell phones, the internet, Facebook, all the, the face to face walking around. And sometimes students will be so connected to family that they will get stuck behind the fifth wall. So just understanding that and just recognizing that, she needs to also be on campus and doing those things. Are you
Oh,
pretty good with that?
for
I have a
sure.
feeling I have a
Yes.
feeling you are. Yeah, I'm talking a lot, but that part,
Yeah, I was thinking like, we just need a daily check-in just to make sure that she's alive and well. But I'm
it's
really excited. We got to
it,
see the campus today and she's gonna fit in really well there, I think.
so today's such a good day. Yay. And are you
Sure.
going to text? Is it going to be Snapchat? Is it going to be like what's the best way to communicate? Have you talked about that?
Uh, no, I mean, in my head, yes.
Okay.
Maybe like a weekly FaceTime or more if she needs it, and definitely like a daily text, I think. Yeah.
Daily text, nice. And one thing that I think is really will be interesting is even beforehand, if you two talk about like, how often do you plan on reaching out?
Yeah.
And then Kate tells you, and then what's interesting is if you get there, Kate, and you find yourself reaching out 5 times more, like you're texting every hour as opposed to just like once a day, it's just an interesting thing to see like what you think it's going to be and what it turns out to be. And if it turns out to be that, that's great too.
Mhm.
Just as long as you have your people in places, which I'm going to help you to do. So wonderful. Kathleen, thank you for signing up. Kate, any last questions before I keep rolling?
I don't think so, but maybe I'll get some more along the way.
Yeah, you're great. You're going to be wonderful. And truly, I'm thrilled to be in your corner. And thanks for doing this. And I'll get you all that good stuff too. And I'm so excited
Aw,
for it.
Thank
All
thank
right.
you.
you.
So, just taking a step back, this has been a crazy year. This has been a really difficult, challenging time. A lot of you didn't get into the schools you wanted to get into. And I just want to reiterate you're amazing, you're incredible, you're dynamic, you're worthy, you're deserving. There are so many schools this year that had to turn away so many amazing students, more applications than ever. The admit rates were reduced. You can't really read the percentages here, but just know more so than ever, qualified great students have been dealing with difficult circumstances. I pulled this from Reddit. Uh, yeah, anyone else sad? Hi, my name is Blake. I'm a senior. Just got all his decisions back for 2021. I don't normally cry, but today I cried. I was rejected from every single one of my schools except for my two safeties. When I opened my USC letter today, I just stared at the word sorry for 5 minutes before the reality actually hit me in the face. I had a 1500 SAT, a 400 at an 4.0 at an IB school, but I applied CS to mostly top universities. My entire family goes to UT Austin. Both my brothers are students there. My parents are graduates. My grandpa's a professor. I was rejected. The only school I didn't get rejected from was Virginia Tech, where I got waitlisted. And I actually reached out to Blake because I just felt so bad for this dude. And he's doing better, but a lot of you are going to be in places where maybe it wasn't your first choice. And what happens is when that occurs, you really just have to design what you want based on you. And that can be hard because a lot of students are, a lot of you live in a world where you do what other people want, and wanting isn't your strength. So wanting can be hard. And I want to help you to want and to really think about how to do this. Think about how to do this over the summer and the next months. And for you sophomores and juniors and parents, you can use all of this because when you start practicing what I'm going to share with you early, it becomes very easy to go after what you want in that next place. So the Chronicle of Higher Education, this is one of the resources I go to every single day. The Chronicle just gives you a vibe on what's happening. And just because COVID, I know things are opening up, but there's also a lot of changes. Some schools are requiring students to have vaccines. There's anti-vaccine groups coming up. That's like the big thing of can we require it? Should we require it? Also, there are still students who are dealing with the repercussions of COVID. Schools are still having quarantine buildings, and you don't hear about it as much, but that's still happening. Inside Higher Ed is another resource that I highly recommend checking out. And these are free resources. They have their headlines and their news, and this is where a lot of the administrators will get their info, but it's just good stuff. According to a recent survey from Inside Higher Ed and College Pulse. This just kind of gives you a sense of just the mental health status of students. 65% of students reported having fair or poor mental health. So two thirds. 63% of those who say it's poor would grade their college's response to student mental health and wellness services a C or lower. Then you've got 47% say they could have used they could have used more support, and only 15% engaged in college offered counseling in the past year. And that's what I really wanted to hit on, because you really need to take advantage of those resources because they're free, they're amazing. These people who are there are incredible and they want to help you. And you don't know what's going to happen next year. And if you feel any of these feelings, to know that you have help is amazing. I also want to be super positive and just kind of give you a little pulse on what's happening. University of Florida, they recently had a concert, which was great. They had a pod system where one person could invite limited guests in their quarantine, and this was really effective. So those traditions, those things that we've seen before, are starting to open up. In California, we're seeing that students are going to be coming back to campus. Uh, there's still going to be some online and virtual component, but they're really working hard to change that as well. One of the spillovers from COVID, and oh, I should have asked you, Kate. I had a question for you. I'm wondering if they're doing virtual orientation or online orientation at Quinnipiac this fall. I know at Boston University, what they're doing is virtual for the summer. So these would have been face-to-face programs over the summer. Once students arrive on campus, they're going to start to do some of those orientation programs. But it's a little bit different. And some of those summer immersion programs that help you to connect, those still aren't happening. And more than ever, really being intentional, really understanding that when it comes to what my year is going to be, there's more to do. Getting in is, I think, not the hardest part. It's what happens once you're there. And this year, I compare it to a moving walkway, like at the airport, the moving walkways. People are back at airports, I heard. Uh, the moving walkways are great because they help you to just, find stuff. It's like it comes to you. But this year, you have to be very intentional about going after what you want. And that's why I've put these together for you. I put together 17. Don't be intimidated. These go fast. Uh, a lot of what I talk about is a lot of what I started to talk to Kate about. But these are the 17 things. They might be small on your screen. And just so you know, for any of you who see me small here, just make the speaker view big and you can check this out. I'm going to go through these. And you also have, which is so cool, there is a link. And I see the link is in the chat right now. And if you click on that link, you will get all the slides. I've got a roommate contract. We're going to have the replay posted tomorrow so you can share that with other people. But everything I share is going to be there because I move really quickly and I've got a ton of information, but I want to make sure that you have access to that. And again, does anyone have any questions? How you doing? M. Finkel, what are you thinking so far? I know you're my pro. You're my resident parent who's in here, who's knowing it. Um, all right, let me know in the chat how you're doing. Keep me posted because I want to keep my finger on what you're thinking and your questions. All right, number one, want something. This seems so simple, and I glanced over it earlier, but what I've discovered is so many students are not great at going after what they want. A question for you, and you can raise your hand. If you're a parent, I want to know if you've asked your student this question. And if you're a student, I want to know, did your parent or whoever it is you're with ask you this question? So, did you ask the question, do you want to go to college? Have you asked the question, do you want to go to college? And most of you have not asked this question. So raise your hand if you've asked this question, and raise your hand if your parent has asked you this question. And if your hand isn't up, the assumption is nobody asked you if you wanted to go to college. The assumption is that you were going to go. And I don't know if this is true, but we have very few people. I mean, I don't know if you all are interacting and letting me know, or we might just have a group where there's just a lot of people who weren't asked this question. So, do you want to go to college? It's one of the wants. And one of the things I've learned is that a lot of times we don't ask that question. It's just the assumption is you're going to go. But asking that question is really powerful because the next question is why. And sometimes I do this, I'll do this in big groups and you get generic answers. I want to better myself, I want to be prepared for life. But no, it's like, Why are you going? And Kate, I only have you to work with tonight, but like, why are you going to Quinnipiac? What is it that you want to happen? And the more specific your answer, the easier it's going to be to find your people and places. But what I've discovered is so many people are not great at wanting. What they're great at is waiting for people to want them. What they're great at is hoping that things will turn out. And oftentimes, when things don't, questioning their self worth. When you go after what you want and you don't always get it, sometimes you question your value. And I want to just remind you, no matter what happens, you're worthy and deserving of anything you want and desire. You truly are, every single one of you. And as adults, we struggle with this too. But it's not about being wanted, it's about what do you want? So forget want me, like me, accept me. And this is why I was talking to you, Kate, about where are the places you can go where you can find kind people? Where are the places you can go where you can be included? Where are the places you can go where you're going to be surrounded by the individuals who really know what it's like to be away from home, the individuals who can appreciate what it's like to be homesick, someone who's just going to be like, yeah, this is normal. This is part of it. And it is. And it's getting through it. That's the hardest part. And you're all here, so you're going to know what's coming your way. So it's going to be easy to get through it. And if you're a junior, this is going to help you to practice, right? So what do you want? Think friendships, experiences, where are you going to spend your time? A lot of you are only in the classroom for like, you know, 15 hours a week. Leaves a lot of other hours. What looks interesting? Taking risks, putting yourself in rooms where you don't know people. That's really scary. What did you love to do in high school? And I love that you played volleyball. And if you played a sport, play that sport because that's a comfortable thing. And you're going to be around other really smart, like-minded people, and you're going to have amazing experiences. Like the stuff that happens outside the classroom is even more important than what happens in the classroom, especially when transitioning. So I have a new book that came out recently called Win or Learn: The Naked Truth About Turning Every Rejection into Your Ultimate Success. And it's based on Nelson Mandela's quote, I never lose, I either win or I learn. And I love this quote because it sets you up to be successful no matter what. And if you look at your first year in college, not as I've made it, I'm here, this is the definitive year. No, if you look at it as, all right, this is a getting comfortable year. This is a learning year. I'm going to learn what I like and I'm going to discover what I don't like. And if I don't like something, that's okay. And if I do like something, that's exciting. Because if it's win or learn, the expectations have shifted. And I know so many of you are used to producing and getting results and getting grades and measuring success in the outcome of the grade. But I really want you to shift your focus and realign what you see as being successful. For me, success is being present, success is staying on campus, especially for those of you who live close to home or those of you who want to, be close to home or go home because you have a boyfriend or girlfriend or significant other. Some of you are going to be home because you're going to a community college or junior college. And I'm like a huge fan of those schools as well. Whether you go to big school, small school, I don't care. It's all the same. You got to expect the unexpected. These students are showing their COVID results. They're showing that so they can get into their residence halls. This whole past year has been an experiment in how do you deal with discomfort and how do you find joy. And again, I know I keep talking about you, Kate, because you're the only one to talk to, but you were phenomenal. How do you find joy? How do you find things that you can do regardless of other people and other things? And again, that's something that people don't think about. Quinnipiac was beautiful today. Imagine walking through campus and reading a book in a cool place. Maybe get one of those hammocks, those portable hammocks you can tie to a tree. I saw those at Costco the other day. And you can imagine where you're going to sit and read. But do it outside. Do it at a place where there's other people and do it where people can see what you're reading. So when someone walks by and see that you read murder books, they could get excited about murder with you and talk about the different mystery books. Expecting the unexpected is really hard. And I didn't even realize I was doing this in my life. But basically, I write about change. I write about getting comfortable with the uncomfortable because I've been uncomfortable mess most of my life. I'm really good lately. I've been doing some good self-care, meditation and journaling and exercising good. So I include this Naked Roommate on the bestseller list. And I include this not because I'm trying to impress anyone. It's because I struggled most of my life feeling good enough, feeling worthy. Even I've been seeing a therapist for several years. And one of the things he said is, Harlan, you just don't really celebrate the things that you've accomplished. And I couldn't believe I was one of those people because I was so busy beating myself up. And I want you all to celebrate yourself. I want you to celebrate that you're here. Parents, you should celebrate. Students, you should celebrate. I was a 2.75 student, 7.9 student, I think 2.9 with Jim. And, I've done all right. And I just want you all to know that you all are enough and you can get wherever you want to go. I speak to lots of students and they share their secrets with me. And understanding what so many students go through has really helped me to have perspective. I also interview students, and you can check out Before College TV. It's a new channel I launched, and I've been interviewing students over the past year. And man, these students, they tell you the truth. They don't hide it. And when you see these students talk, and if your school isn't represented, just listen to some of these other students because the stories are all the same. The individuals are different, but the stories are the same. But again, no one told me this. My college experience, I went to a big school. I wanted to go to a big school because that's where my parents went. So we did. My dad went to Ohio State. My brothers went to Indiana University. My mom went to Kent State. I want to go to a big school. I want to be close to my high school girlfriend because it was a miracle that I had one. I did not do well with the ladies. That's where I learned most of my rejection. Very good at that. And I didn't want to know people because I was sick of being around the same faces, right? I didn't want to see anyone. Ew. So I needed a roommate, and I thought my roommate was going to be my friend. It ends up my roommate was not my friend. He loved smoking pot, and I didn't smoke pot. First day, he reached into his backpack and he pulled out this joint and he took a puff. He's like, "Hey man, do you want some?" And I was like, "No, thanks, man. I'm full." And inside, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I was totally freaking out. He moved out. I didn't get into a fraternity. I tried to get into five. I got rejected by every single one. The only thing I had going for me was there she is. There she is, right there. Where? No, that's me. There. Hold on. This finger. There. There she is, right there. That's Alexis. That is the love of my life. We're no longer together. I found another love. But anyway, Alexis and I were together. Alexis was a senior in high school. I was a freshman in college. I was having a hard time. And if you any of you in a long distance relationship or have kids who are going to be doing that, let me know. I'll speak directly to that. But her father compared our relationship to a dying puppy, urging her to shoot the puppy. So she did, and broke off the relationship. And I was devastated. I was in this beautiful campus. Look how gorgeous it is. It's probably what it looked like today. This is UW Madison, but this is what it looked like most of the year. See this? This is the same hill. That is Bascom Hill. This is what it looked like. And it was hard for me because I didn't know how to navigate change and no one told me how to get through this. I felt depressed. I felt anxious. I felt like a failure because no one in my family had transferred and struggled at this level. And I didn't know it could be normal. I didn't know this is what students deal with. So I did what a lot of students do. I left, I transferred. And I have to tell you, I have no problem with transferring. I don't know if any of you know someone who transferred, but by a show of hands, I don't know if you could see the hands, but how many of you know somebody who's transferred, who's gone there and it wasn't a great fit? See a bunch of hands going up. I mean, lots of hands. This is a softball question. I mean, I think every single person here could raise their hand. Now, we work so hard to get into schools, but sometimes it's not the right fit. Sometimes it's just not a good place for us because we didn't really think about people, places, and patients. I went to IU. I transferred because my brothers had gone there. I'd been visiting there since I was 10. I had friends. I needed friends because I sure as hell didn't know how to make them. There was a fraternity that had to accept me, and that was awesome because I was a legacy. They had no choice. And eventually I found my places and I found my people and I was patient. And this is it. It's people, places, patience. I know I have 17 things here, but if you want to take away anything, it's where are your places? Who are your people? And how long will it take to get where you want to go? But this means actually thinking, where do I want to go? And how am I going to find it? Now, again, one of the problems is this is not what we talk about in high school. So many of you are set up to have a really difficult year because nobody's telling you the truth. And I'm going to tell you the truth, but I'm not only going to tell you the truth, I'm going to give you a system, a framework, a way to work through this. And I'm also going to, I'm not going anywhere, right? Like, I'm going to be here, Kathleen. Like, I'm not joking. Be like, hey, you know what? I've got this question. How can we work through this? How can Kate work through this or whatever? Not Kate, anybody. I'll find all of you. I've got a bunch. I could see a bunch of people here, or Kim, or or Corey or Linda or Lisa or Mark or whoever you are. All right. So, according to the most recent data, this might be hard for you to see, but in 2011, 45.2% of college students felt hopeless over the past 12 months. 45.2%. That number jumped to 55.9% in 2019. So that's 10.7 percentage points. It's outrageous how much that's jumped. And this year, with COVID, those numbers are higher. I was talking to an expert 2 days ago, interviewing her, and 2/3 of students, more than that, are dealing with extreme. I don't want to use the wrong word. They're dealing with incredible emotional challenges. And more so, it's the women who are dealing with this because they're vocal and sharing it. But we know that depression and anxiety are big issues. And when you're away from home, how are you going to anticipate that and navigate change? How are you going to be great at transition? So, to understand what transition is, it's really helpful to break it down. So, there are 5 big areas of transition. 5 big areas: social, everything going on, with friends, people outside of your circle, anytime you're interacting. This could be romantic relationships too. Emotional transitions, everything going on between your ears, emotional. The physical transition, being in a new place surrounded by new people, taking care of your health and wellness. The financial transition. The financial transition is huge. So many of you are worried about that, and I can help you with that as well. Oh, yeah, there's one more, the academic transition, right? Isn't that nuts? The acronym is SEPFA. I'll say it again. SEPFA. It's the worst acronym ever. SEPFA. I want to give you another poll here. I'm curious to know. Let me see. I'm curious to know. Oh, I've been sharing that a long time. I want to know which transition makes you the most uncomfortable? Which transition makes you the most uncomfortable? Social, emotional, physical, financial, or academic? Let me know. I want you to take a second. And while you're answering this, if anyone has a question or comment, if you're enjoying this, let me know what's sticking out. Let me know what you're gravitating towards. Let me know what's been helpful. I'm going to give you a second here as you answer this question. I'm going to replenish and hydrate. I'm dealing with some allergies. I don't know if any of you have allergies, but good God, my allergies, I'm trying so hard not to show it. But man, my allergies are just, it is rough in Chicago and everything's blooming all over me. So let me get back here. All right. So I'm gonna let you finish answering the question in 3, 2, 1. And I'm gonna share these with everyone. Look at this with you. So 38% the social transition, 14 emotional, and that's making friends. Where are you going to eat lunch? Who are you going to walk around campus with? Who you go to activities with? The physical transition, and I think physical is also distance. And you could have multiple ones. When the financial is big, it can overpower everything. And my suggestion is to find the juniors and seniors who found the money. Sometimes there's money within a department, sometimes there's money within a particular school. Sometimes the financial aid office will have additional money. Sometimes you can compare your, I'll share this later, but you can compare your financial aid offers and even get more money. Then there's the academic transition. And I think the academic is really the easiest to navigate because here's the thing. If you struggle in the classroom, if you're having a problem with the academic transition, you just get help, right? You just get help. The problem is most of us don't want to get help because it gets uncomfortable. But the thing is, there are unbelievable resources and they're underused. So, one of my suggestions when it comes to places is the first time you're dealing with a difficult quiz or concept, even before the first time, go to the academic resource center and just sit there and study. Get to know those people. And what's cool is you can even work there. Those are great jobs. I've talked to so many students who've studied there and have ended up working there. Okay, number 3, get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And the reason that I share so much up to this point with you that's uncomfortable is because I want you to acknowledge it. This isn't a bad thing. This is just a thing. It's just what happens to so many students. There's a 90-10 rule that I like to live by, and I think it really makes life a little easier. The 90-10 rule says life's 90% amazing, 10% a big heap and pile of BS. The secret is to never let the 10% take up 100% of your time. The 10% tends to be front loaded, tends to be when we're dealing with unwanted or forced change, COVID, the pandemic, all of that. It really throws us because we can't prepare for it. And high school doesn't do a great job of preparing students during a regular year when it comes to navigating the change. But part of this in readying yourself is to rename the first year the getting comfortable year, to shift your expectations. And especially if you're a parent who has a student who's doing this for the first time, you know, kind of realign. This year is going to be amazing, but it's also going to be a year of growth. It's going to be a year of discovery. And it's going to be a year that's going to be a little bit difficult. And at the root of uncomfortable is a truth called the universal rejection truth. It should be an element on the periodic table, the URT. The universal rejection truth says that not everyone and everything will always respond to you the way you want. Like gravity, there's no escaping this law of nature. Many of you encountered this during the admissions process. You're incredible, you're worthy, you're qualified, but for whatever reason, you didn't get the outcome you desired because that's the universal rejection truth. You can transfer to that school, you can go to grad school, you can teach there, you can become president of that school. That's just what happens. There are many truths. The problem is when we fight the universal rejection truth, we end up miserable. When we don't acknowledge the truth, we struggle. You can be the most qualified, you can be the very best, you can do everything right, and you'll encounter the universal rejection truth of dating and relationships. I dealt with that a lot. I wrote a book about it. It's truly, I wrote an advice column for 20 years, and it's all about being great at tolerating rejection. And the only way to be great at tolerating rejection is to understand that that's part of the process. Your roommate might not be your best friend, although I hope your roommate is. Not everything is going to always turn out as planned, but a lot of things will if you take risks and find your people and places. That's the thing that most people don't understand. It's also awesome to see people who have been there and done it and are there, how they struggled in the past. Serafina Nance. 4 years ago, I got a 0 in quantum physics exam. I met with the professor fearing I needed to change my major and quit physics. Today, I'm a top tier astrophysicist PhD program. I'm in a top tier program and published 2 papers. Then Ben Cici wrote, I got a 2.4 GPA my first semester in college. Thought I wasn't cut out for engineering. Today, I've landed 2 spacecraft on Mars and I'm designing one for the moon. STEM is hard. Grades ultimately aren't what matters, curiosity and persistence. And it's been proven it is not where you go to college. This is a fact. There's research on this. It's not where you go to college that determines your success. It's what you do when you are on campus. And if anybody wants this data, I'm going to be posting this data. I've got this interview with Denise Pope. I'm so excited. I'm going to be posting it on Before College TV. Ooh, it's great. A lot of you are familiar with the book Mindset. A lot of you have heard about growth mindset versus fixed mindset. People with a fixed mindset believe that a result is finite and it's a reflection of who they are, meaning they can't change this because it's fixed. But growth mindset means that you can learn, you can grow. And there's many different parts of our lives where we encounter a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. But the gift of the universal rejection truth is that it makes it very clear that you can be brilliant, successful, accomplished, and you will not always get what you want. There's no shame or fear or embarrassment if we don't get what we want the first time, because in order to get where you want to go, you have to encounter this truth. None of us are immune to it. So I hope this little lesson on rejection will help you to come out of denial. Rejection denial is a dark, dangerous place where you think everyone and everything should always respond to you the way you want. When someone or something doesn't respond, you tend to hate, hide, attack, or blame. But when you can face the truth, you can look inward, you can look outward, you can move forward with confidence and clarity. Just taking the piece that you mentioned, Kate, of homesickness. It's like the truth is you feel this. And thanks for mentioning this. I was doing an event and there were these 2 women, they were sitting next to each other, and I said, how did you meet? And I go, you look like really great friends. And she said, well, truthfully, it was during orientation and I was really feeling sad and I had to leave the room and I was outside of a building and I started to cry. And this other person walked up to me and asked me why I was crying. And I said that I was homesick. And then she started to cry. And the 2 of them cried together and then became great friends. And it was embracing it. And it was allowing them to feel what they feel, knowing that this stuff's normal, right? And you get through it. The sooner you acknowledge it and know it's coming, the easier it is to get through it. And this is where we get to finding your places, right? And this, we go fast now because like you got it, right? You got it. Now I'm going to help you to make it happen. I'm giving you the tools. So find your three places. Places are where you sweat, play, pray, live, learn, lead, love, and work. Sweat, play, pray, live, learn, lead, love, and work. So think about what you did in high school. Think about how you built relationships. Think about how you can do this in college. And if you don't know, I'm going to help you to figure out how to do that. But some of the places where you're going to find connection and community: counseling services, student orgs, intramurals, work study jobs. I think working is so great because it gives you a purpose. You're very focused and it's something that you need to do, right? It's like you're in a place and you're around different groups of people. Greek life, performing arts, campus media. Campus media is great because when I was a reporter at the Indiana Daily Student, I could go anywhere with a notepad and I didn't have to feel like a loser because I was reporting, right? I had an excuse and I wouldn't have been a loser anyway. But I was worried. The multicultural centers are amazing. When you commit to your school, or if you're a junior and you're thinking about places or sophomores, go to the student org site. When you go to the student org site, start clicking around, start digging. This is from UW Madison. They got the Badger Support Network. You click on the Badger Support Network, and then you get more information. What is the Badger Support Network? It empowers UW Madison students to create an inclusive community and support each other, identity, mental well being, and day to day lives. There's a contact individual and there's a number. And whether you're on a large school, small school, uh, community college, wherever you are, you can find this information. This is from Denison, a smaller school. And instead of having a student representative, they've got the director here who you can reach out to. And you can say, hey, I was thinking about the places where I was going to meet some people and I just wanted to, share a few interests. Where do you think would be a good place for me to find some connection? Everywhere. Look around. Everywhere you see things where people are advertising and promoting, the beauty of this is you're going to be the ones who are attending these. You can be the one creating this stuff. You can be the one who is participating in these things. Always, the reason you have three places because you always have somewhere to go, you always have something to do, you always have options. Find your five people on campus. It's wonderful for those of you who have your parents there. That's great. Or you have parents at home, but on campus, who are your five people on campus? All right. And if you think you don't know these people, well, this gets really easy. There's people who volunteer, people who you enlist or ask, and people who are paid. And I've got a list of all these different people here. You've got your orientation leaders, peer mentors, spiritual leaders, res life staff. These students in the background, this is actually from UConn. These are students who are leaders. I was smiling because UConn was one of your choices. And UConn does a good job of trying to make the campus as small as possible. And these people are so nice and so wonderful. When it comes to not knowing people, find the places where you're going to find the kindest people, not the coolest people. Go for the kindest. And then you have to be patient because, like I said, it could take a little time to find your way. It doesn't happen right away. How long does it take? From the students I've talked to, it takes like a good semester and a half. The first semester is just adjusting, it's just kind of exploring. And then you start to really figure out what do I want? And you can build those deeper, more meaningful relationships. Some people it's faster, some people it's not, but that just gives you a great idea, gives you a ballpark. Follow the 24-hour rule. It's a great rule. My daughter plays softball, and the coach said, if anyone's upset, if anyone has a problem, give it 24 hours. Because truly, if you write an email, if you're angry, something happens, 24 hours later, it's usually better. It really is. Or you have the ability to think through something. What's going to happen in 24 hours? Nothing. The problem will still be there. Or you might have a solution. Or there's going to be a new problem, and the old problem will no longer be a problem, which will make it irrelevant. Number 8, talk to your parents. Really important to talk about when you're going to communicate, how you're going to communicate. I had the chance to do a little bit of coaching, or just the tiniest bit, but it's really important to get a sense of how frequently you plan to communicate. And I like this to be a conversation where a parent asks the student, have you thought about how frequently you want to communicate? Have you thought about how? And what's nice is, and I mentioned this to you, Kathleen, is when you can talk to your student and have kind of a baseline of what they think is going to be normal, then if it becomes more or less, you can kind of have a sense of what's going on. Visiting, how frequently you'll visit, breaks. I think it's really important to talk about when you're going to come home if you're a residential student, so you can really focus on being on campus. And staying on campus is so important. If you're having some hard times, you have a student who's away and you're close enough to drive, you can just go there for lunch, but it's better or dinner, but it's better than having them come home because really being there, it's who on campus can help them to work through that. Money, budget, having that conversation, academic expectations. Sometimes students struggle that first year. And it's really important to tell parents, like, abandon all academic expectations, really, because if your child is struggling and you have such high expectations, they're not going to tell you, they're going to hide it. But when you can just give them permission to just find their way, well, if they get a grade that's not great, instead of them feeling shame, it's who are my people, where are my places? HIPAA, FERPA, make sure you have waivers because you don't have access to that same information. And you can ask your university about HIPAA and FERPA waivers so that you have access to support your kid. Man, this came up again. I was doing a college conversation with some students and they were saying email, check your email. You get scholarship information, you get important deadline information. You guys are horrible at checking your email. I know email is so like 1999 and it's just antiquated, but schools will communicate via email. So make sure you are checking your email. Number 10, follow posts like when it comes to people and places, when it comes to getting a handle on what is this school like, when it comes to identifying people who you're going to get to meet. And this is what's so cool. When you follow, post, and like, and Facebook, I know a lot of you, you're like, I don't want to do Facebook. Facebook's great because schools use Facebook, students use Facebook, but also Instagram, TikTok as well. And what happens is you start to see student leaders. You start to see if a group has a TikTok or an organization. Campus ministry might have a TikTok, which is kind of cool because then you get to see where are they, what are they doing. The campus newspaper gives you an incredible look at traditions, things that are happening on campus. If it's a weekly paper or even once a month, that's going to be helpful. You can also look at the ads. You can see the businesses when it comes to jobs. And the traditions and events you see are the things you're going to be running and being involved with. So think about it in terms of not just learning about the campus. Look at it as what are the opportunities that I'm going to participate in as I continue on my journey. And the thing is, you can reach out to any of the people in these articles, which is so cool. All right, with roommates. Some of you have roommates. Anybody, let's see, by show of hands, how many of you are nervous about living with a roommate, or your child is nervous, or you're nervous for your child? Okay, this is one of the most popular. We got a lot of hands for this one. So I am like so blasé with roommates. The only thing that matters with a roommate is that, they respect your space and that they get up and go to sleep at a time that's reasonable. That's it. Like that's it. Like you have to make sure you got sleep schedules done and that they just, don't touch your stuff or eat your stuff. Like that's it. You just talk about that. Everything else is a bonus, right? You're going to find your friends in other places. The problem is when you expect a roommate or require a roommate to be a friend, that person now has to say and do certain things. They have to invite you to meals. They have to introduce you to friends. They have to include you. And when someone doesn't, you get hurt feelings. Remember the whole rejection thing? Well, if you really want that roommate to be your friend and they don't invite you, you're going to start to resent them. So I really encourage you to look at your roommate as someone you share space with. And you just make it clear, like, I want to get along. Roommates who want to get along, find a way to get along. These are the three rules. We have a roommate contract as well to help you through this. Roommates aren't required to be friends. And again, friendship is a bonus. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to think about, but it really is. And the reason this helps so much is because if you follow the third rule, the uncomfortable rule, it means that you and your roommate agree to share what makes you uncomfortable within 24 to 48 hours. And I do this during events. I say, hey, if I make anyone uncomfortable, and I mean this now, like if I've said or done anything that makes you uncomfortable, let me know. Share it in the chat, share it in the question. Information is not emotional, information informs me. And yes, I really, my feelings can get hurt, but that's okay because I want to understand. And when you set the expectations and say, hey, listen, if I do anything that makes you uncomfortable, let me know. And if you do something, can I let you know? Then you can build you could build a meaningful relationship. You can have honest dialogue, which ultimately will lead to a friendship. See how beautiful that is? I know there were some relationships out there, and I want to just check in and let you know I'm probably going to go like maybe 6 minutes more. So we won't go that long. And then I've got time for Q&A. There hasn't been a lot of questions tonight. I think sometimes when I share this stuff, like no one's even thought about these things. Um, so it's hard to have questions. So, but think about any questions you have because I do like answering questions. Okay, know the relationship rules. If you're going in with a relationship or if you find yourself in one, and again, there's no classes on dating and relationships. Most important thing is to have a life independent of your significant other, to stay on campus if you're at a residential school as much as possible. Do not restrict your significant other or be restricted. I talked to some dude last week who said his girlfriend would not let him be in the band. And this guy really loved the band and he regretted it. But she didn't want him to go to the band because if he's in the band, he's going to be marching behind someone else. And you know what's going to happen then. And she's like, I don't want you doing that because I'm afraid you're going to find someone because I don't feel good enough. And somehow I got you. So I have to isolate you. That's not healthy. Meet other people and form friendships. Forming a friendship doesn't mean that you're being disloyal. Learn to be happy while apart and you'll be happy together. People don't get this. They think if they're miserable, it's a good relationship. No, it just means you're miserable. Like there's nothing good about it, right? Because you should be happy. When you figure out how to be happy, independent of each other, you have things to talk about, the relationship's better, and things end up good. No matter what, you're going to be okay. When you know you're going to be okay, everything is easy. It can be painful. You can get through it because you know it's going to be, you're going to make it. You know you're going to make it. And that's the easy part. All right. Ask, budget, work. I love this idea of working. I think it's so helpful. Great way to get money. Talk to the students who found the money. Those students who are seniors and juniors, they're so generous. They'll tell you. They'll tell you the exact scholarship. They could even share the essay. You can ask. If you don't have money, don't hang out with the people who don't have money and talk about not having money. Hang out with the people who found the money. Go if you're a first gen student, underrepresented student, if you come from a particular community, find those like-minded people, find the people who are from similar places because you'll be shocked. You might be able to get free money. Like TRIO programs will oftentimes supply books for students. Okay, put together a budget, investigate those jobs, make that one of your places. Hidden costs are key because a lot of times we don't recognize that, especially given some of the dining restrictions. We'll see if those linger with COVID. Know how much your loans really cost. If you're financing your education with loans, the rule is know exactly what you're going to pay when you graduate. And you may not know exactly, but you can get a pretty good idea because if you take out an exorbitant amount of loans and you aren't earning income to pay for that, that's a disaster. Nobody wants that. And then go to meetings with free food. Free food's good. Spiritual groups are great. You get free food and you get to meet nice people. Here's a calculator that you can use, and there's a link to this. And I really encourage you to do this. The general idea is you don't want to graduate with more in loans than what you'll earn your first year out of college. So you don't want to have more in loans in aggregate than what you'll earn your first year out of college. So if you make $40,000 as an entry level job, you don't want to have more than $40,000 in loans in theory, because when you do the math, you see what your payment's going to be, and that can help you to have a handle on how to work through this. And if you're like, oh, Harlan, we didn't do this, we'll do it. And you can always find a place in a situation that's going to work for you. Always. The benefits of working on campus, I've got an article about that as well. And I know I'm kind of glancing over the money part. It's a huge piece, but there are ways to do this. I'm a huge fan of community colleges. I know that some people, have preconceived notions, or maybe they're not as impressed. You get your prerequisites out of the way. You can work. If you're like in a place where there's a city, you can get a part-time job aligned with a passion or career, find mentors, knock those prerequisites out of the way, transfer to a ridiculous school, get some more aid, get some scholarships. Boom. Number 15, have rules for going out. Having rules for going out is key. It's key because when you have rules, you could say, I don't do this. When you are engaged in dialogue and say, I don't do something, there's research that says people don't push you. When you're like, oh, I'm not sure, should I do this? Shouldn't I? Or, I'm really not tonight. It's not something I usually do. People push, push, push. Make sure you have these rules. These are just 3 essentials. Talk to the seniors and juniors. Everyone who comes together leaves together. You only do stuff, romantic stuff, sober, not at all. And you never walk home alone at night ever. My niece told me about, oh, what did she tell me about? I was gonna put this on here. I just remembered. I had dinner with her last night. She's going to school in a big city. And I'll just show this. Okay. I'll just put this, I'm gonna make me big so you can see this. This is so cool. I love this. Okay. So this, let me see if you can see this. Hold on. Ah, beautiful. See this? So this is Flare, and with a touch of a button on your bracelet, you can trigger a fake phone call, text friends to get help, or you can send your GPS location and contact 911. So if you lose your cell phone or someone takes it from you, this flare is so cool. She also showed me there was one more thing that I wanted to show you. This is a yellow jacket because I was taking pictures so I can show you guys this. And a yellow jacket, let's see if we can get this to focus. Oh man. So a yellow jacket it's a cell phone case that has a stun gun in it. A yellow jacket. And it's just one more thing. Like if this is something that you're concerned about, these are just great safety things to have. Okay, let me fix my thing here. Sometimes when I do this, my my green screen gets all wonky. Okay, number 16, find a therapist on campus and find academic support. If you're somebody who has been in therapy, find a therapist. Have your therapist do teletherapy. Just have a check in with them. And campus resources and those support services are amazing. I love having someone to talk to who doesn't have my same last name. I only got into therapy like 3 or 4 years ago, and I think I was just scared. But it's so wonderful to talk to someone. Identify academic campus resources, tutoring services. Every school has a tutoring service, and they're free. So it's like if you're having any academic issues, get help. The problem is people are like, oh, I don't want to get help because I'm going to feel stupid, or I don't need help. I didn't need help in high school. I can't tell you how many students I met who didn't have to study in high school who all of a sudden struggle in college because they don't know how to get help. They're too afraid. But the thing is, it's a different kind of studying and you can get that help. So use those resources. All right. Tell your story as if it's already happened. This is one of my favorite tips. So when you tell your story as if it's already happened, you're able to leapfrog the fear and anxiety, and you're able to think as if it's already happened. So go to May 1st, 2022. All right. Imagine here's what happened my first year in college. And here's the template. I had the most incredible year. I reached my goal and accomplished. This is the what. The most challenging part was fill in the blank because it's going to be uncomfortable and difficult at times, especially if you want something. I got through it by leaning on these people. I found people to help me in these places. It took me this amount of time to get where I want to go. You could tell the story of your week. You could tell the story of your month. It's a wonderful leadership technique, something people will use in business. It's awesome. So tell your story as if it's happened. Oh, we've shared so much. Gosh, there's a lot. And I hope you have questions. I'll stay to answer a couple questions. I want to wrap this up. This is from the Naked Roommate book. And this is what I encourage everyone to do. And please stick around. I have a few more resources I want to share with you. But I want you to relax. And I want you to have fun and enjoy every minute. Your job's simple. Be your personal best. Meet lots of people. Make new friends. Make smart decisions. Possibly find a career. Possibly find love. And take risk after risk after risk so that you can figure out what you love and what you don't love. Expect that all the risks you take will not always go as planned. Many will, but not all. And when a risk doesn't go as planned, don't go on the attack. Don't give up and hide. Look inward, look outward, and move forward. Find your people, find your places. Be patient. Do this. When you leave college with more than a degree, you'll leave knowing what it takes for you to be happy. And really, what more could you possibly want out of life in college? And I really mean that. And I really believe in that. And I believe in you. And I believe that these things that I've shared with you, these strategies, these 17 things, oh man, it doesn't just set you up to be great in college. It sets you up to have a great career, a great life. Because these are transition tips. This is what it's about. Want something. Expect the unexpected, get comfortable with the uncomfortable, embrace the universal rejection truth, find your places, find your people, be patient, talk to your parents, talk to the people in your corner, check your email, be informed, follow, like, post, interact, be knowledgeable by reading the paper. When it comes to interacting with roommates and with relationships, be honest, be vulnerable. Make sure you face budgets and can handle difficult situations. Have those rules, find support, and tell your story as if. And for parents, tell that story about how your kids are going to have an amazing experience, how they're going to get to amazing places. These are a few books I suggest. Mindset, I showed you that before, by Carol Dweck, really helps you to put the word yet after everything that challenges you. This hasn't happened yet. It's not that it's not going to happen. Grown and Flown, there's an amazing community. Oh, I love Grown and Flown. And they've got a great book, but they also have a great community for any of you. Uh, there are so many people in your corner, and Grown and Flown, I urge every parent to participate. Where you go is not who you'll be, for you juniors. For anybody who is maybe not at their first choice, man, that book by Frank Bruni, I'm going to interview Frank because, oh, between him and Denise Pope, who runs Challenge Success, I can tell you, wherever you are, it's what you do. It is what you do where you are, and it's wanting and learning and growing. If you want to win or a chance to win $5,000, I strongly encourage you to do this. I'm gonna get my big head out of the way. I've got a link for this on the preview, on the replay page, so you can do that. And thanks again, College Ave, for being so generous. Someone's gonna get that. When it comes to transitioning, where am I? I'll go right here. Try to get myself out of the way. A couple things. I have an online program called Best First Year. I've taken all of this advice and put it into videos with exercises and activities. So that's something you can definitely investigate. And schools actually use this to help seniors to anticipate change, and first year programs will use it as well. The Naked Roommate for Parents Only. They're really well respected, popular books. I have a new book called Win or Learn, which I'm so pumped about. I think it's the most useful book I've ever written because it takes this risk taking model and really helps you to implement it in the easiest way. Before college TV is all about showing you students who have been there and done it so that you know you're not the only one. So you know you're not alone. And that's what I want you to always see and appreciate, especially those of you who are the oldest, first generation students, students who haven't been there and done this before. Whoever you are, I'm in your corner. You can find me on social media pretty much everywhere. I'm going to be doing a ton this spring, ton this summer. My heart is open and I'm committed to serving and helping all of you along the way. And with that, I want to give you an opportunity to ask me any questions that you have. If there's things that you've enjoyed, thank you for including that, Anne. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Patty. We went a couple minutes late. I know that there was just so much to share, and I could talk to you for many, many, many more hours. Um, I think that we're in a good place. It looks like you're all in a good place tonight. So if there aren't any specific questions, then what I'm going to do is wrap this up. I'm kind of stalling to see if there's anybody. I'll do a question that I've been getting frequently, and this is from some of the junior parents about a gap year. And gap years, I think, are wonderful experiences. Structured gap years are great. With SEPFA, what a gap year does, remember SEPFA, that horrible acronym? It takes away the financial and the academic piece. And what it does is it gives you a chance to focus on the social and emotional and the physical. And when you do that, you're able to really align with what you want. And you're able to then go into that next year much more focused and much more present and intentional. And so I think that's really the takeaway is, being intentional and not letting your emotions get too much of you, or let your emotions become the thing that drives your decisions. And when we're aware of what's going on, and when we know what changes, and we understand the college experience, it becomes much easier to work through any of these challenges. If it's managing time, going to the academic resource center, talking to whoever is dealing with a first year experience program, working through that. One last thing I'll mention: first year experience programs, FYE, there is a whole conference that I go to and actually presented this year, which was so much fun. But there's a whole industry, a whole professional industry dedicated to helping first year students transition. Those first year students, you know, it's a tough transition, and not everybody knows that. But once you know it and you have these tools, it becomes so much easier. So I'm grateful you're here. Thank you for the wonderful comments. I'm just so grateful for the interaction. And I'm thrilled that we can be here. If you've enjoyed this and you want to share this with someone else, the replay will be coming to you tomorrow. You also have links to all the resources. And I'm going to do something else. I'm going to do something in August. So I'll send out a note because I want to do like a booster just to help everybody to just like, when it's game time, get in that headspace so that they can get where they want to go. So with that, I want to thank College Ave again for being my partner, helping to support this and helping me to share this information. For all the schools who we've worked with over the past weeks who have been partners, grateful for you. And for everybody here, if you've enjoyed this, please share information with others to support them and let me know what I can do to continue to be here to help you, to be in your corner. And with that, thank you, everybody. I'm Harlan Cohen, and I look forward to continuing this conversation and being in your corner. Thanks, everybody.